Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gabby. This is the Ink Bunny, and I have a book haul for you. So between January and now, I have been to Barnes & Noble and Half Price Books like 5 times, and I've bought books every single time. So I have quite a few novels to go through with you. Let's get into what I got. So the first book I picked up, They All Fall Down by Roxanne St. Clair. And the front says every girl would die to be on the list. Back says that every year the lives of 10 girls at Vienna High are transformed, all because of the list. Kinsey Summerall can't imagine how she's been voted onto a list of the hottest girls in school, but when she lands at number 5, her average life becomes dazzling. Doors open to the best parties, new friends surround her, the cutest jock in school is after her. This is the power of the list. If you're on it, your life changes. If you're on it this year, your life ends. And the next book I picked up is Blood in the Water by Caleb Roerig, and it's a Hunt a Killer original novel. I have the other one, but I haven't read it yet, and I was like, oh, they have a new one. Let me just get them both, and then I can do maybe like a vlog where I read both of them at one time, because they're pretty short. This one isn't even 300 pages, so. The back says, finding this killer is a shell game. The town of Barton Beach is a popular summer destination known for its surfing, sandy beaches, and local restaurants, like the Beachcomber. Or at least it was, until Flash Fremont washed up dead on the shore. Flash's 16-year-old nephew, Zach, is the only one who doesn't believe that Flash died in a freak surfing accident. Zach is determined to find out what really happened to his uncle out in the water, but his investigation reveals more than a few suspects, from old surfing rivals to Zach's own father. As Zach keeps asking questions, more people start showing up dead. Flash's killer is still out there, and if Zach isn't careful, his blood could end up in the water next. The next book I picked up, I have already read. I read it, I believe, 2 years ago now. It's Aunt's Tea Party by Raymina Yee. And it is about a girl who moves to a new town and a new home, and she's nervous, and she realizes that her house is haunted by a girl from, I believe, the 60s. It's super adorable. It's a graphic novel. It made me cry when I read it. I'm meeting the ghost, trying to grow into someone that's more comfortable, more confident, and ultimately getting to a point to where she no longer needs a crutch. She's grown up enough to be on her own. It also does a really good backstory of what happened to Alexa, the ghost that haunts her home, and what happens when she feels that the kids no longer need her. Next book I got is Cain's Jawbone. And if you don't know what Cain's Jawbone is, it is a literary puzzle, and it's a famous literary puzzle. It's a full novel, and you're supposed to get it in physical form because the puzzle pieces have to be cut out and then rearranged. And I believe only 2 or 3 people have solved it, and it's got 6 murders. And I'm like, I love murder mysteries. Why wouldn't I want to solve this? And it was on the shelf, so I picked it up. Next book I got is a graphic novel. It's called Delicates by Brenna Fumler. It is the sequel to Sheets, which I reviewed when I was working for Comicosity a while ago. And I did not realize that it had a sequel, but it does, and now I own it, and I can't wait to read it. Next book I got is called This Is Why We Lie by Gabriella Lepore. Woot, somebody else with my name. Spelled the same way too, super rare. Everyone in Gardiner's Bay has a secret. When Jenna Dallas and Adam Cole find Colleen O'Dell's body floating off the shore of their coastal town, the community of Gardiner's Bay is shaken. But even more shocking is the fact that her drowning was no accident. Once Jenna's best friend becomes a key suspect, Jenna starts to look for answers on her own. As she uncovers scandals inside Preston Prep School leading back to Rookwood Reform School, she knows she needs Adam on her side. As a student at Rookwood, Adam is used to getting judgmental looks, but now his friends are being investigated by the police. peace. Adam will do whatever he can to keep them safe, even if that means trusting Jenna. As lies unravel, the truth starts to blur. Only one thing is certain. Someone must take the fall. Next book I got, which I am super excited about, because look at this gorgeous cover. It's called Murder Your Employer, and it's volume 1 of the McMaster's Guide to Homicide by Rupert Holmes. And, oh, it's signed. But look at these end pages, y'all. I have a whole map. I'm so excited to explore. But basically, it's about a school that teaches you how to get away with murder, basically. It's a college. I believe it's adult. And yeah, you are just gonna go to this class, and it's a case study, and it's gonna show you how to get away with murder. So that sounds amazing to me, so I'm down. The next book I got, I also had already read. It's called The Night Shift by Alex Finley. I gave this book 5 stars when I read it. It's a dual timeline story of 2 massacres that happen in the same town, one at a Blockbuster and one at a ice cream shop. And the detectives on duty have to determine whether or not they put away the right person all those years ago, or if whether or not the second massacre is related, or if it's just like a copycat. It was amazing. I know I gave this 5 stars. Alex Finley is definitely one of my favorite new authors. They have another book coming out, I think in April of this year, and I'm like a bit to read it because I'm so excited. Next book I got from Half Price Books, and it looks amazing, so I'm like super excited. It's called Kinky Lullaby by Isaac Adamson. Looks like that. And it is about a reporter and reluctant detective named Billy Chaka, and he is in Osaka to accept an award he'd written years before about a puppet prodigy named Tetsuo. And then he realizes that he's there under like ulterior motives, and he's there to help unravel a mystery. And then another man is found brutally murdered like next door, so he gets thrown into all of these mysteries at once, and I'm like super excited to investigate and find out exactly what's going on. The next book I got is Kill All Your Darlings by David Bell. This one I've been super interested in because there's a student disappears and is basically presumed dead, and her professor passes off her manuscript as his own, only to find out that the manuscript implicates him in an unsolved murder, and he can't tell him that, you know, he didn't write the book. So it's suspenseful, provocative, and I'm very, very excited about who actually did what, whether or not it was like a trap and he fell for it, or what's going on. I'm super stoked. The next book I picked up is Promise Boys by Nick Brooks. This is an African-American-led novel written by an African-American writer. I'm trying to make sure that I read at least one Black-owned voices novel a month. I really want to get more into African literature, African-American literature, and I just want a more diverse bookshelf. I feel like that's something that should be automatic, but it's not, so I'm trying to make sure that it becomes natural. This book is about a group of boys at a prep school, and then I believe someone dies. Yeah, so basically it's about 3 boys who are at this prep school, and it's supposed to turn boys into men, and they have really strict rules. And then one day the principal ends up murdered, and the police think that the 3 boys did it. And while they all maintain that they didn't do it, they must band together to track down the real killer before they are arrested. So I'm super excited about that. So, Black main character, Black owned voices. It's The Getaway by Lamar Giles. And I believe that this is about okay, so it looks like the main character is living at like a resort, a theme park, and the rest of the world's not great, but more and more rich people and powerful families arrive, and they aren't leaving. Like, they're supposed to stay for a little bit and then go, but I guess because the outside world is so bad, they're staying and like buying shares in this end of the world oasis, and the families that were there are disappearing and no one's like mentioning what's going on. So I think that this is not mystery like I thought. I'm thinking this is more like thriller and suspense and maybe a little supernatural. So that's interesting. I'm excited about that. And then the next book I picked up is Shiver by Ali Reynolds. This popped up on my TBR and my interest like a year ago, and I got it from the library, and then it went back and I never got a chance to read it. So when I saw it on the shelf, I knew that I had to take it with me so that I could complete it. But basically, I believe it's about a reunion. Yeah. Okay, so it's about a group of old friends that get together. I think it's been like a decade or something since they've seen each other. They get together in a cabin in the French Alps, and then they discover that they are stranded, and it's almost like they're being hunted down, I believe. One of their friends, so they used to be a 6-person group, but one of them died, and they don't really have closure or an answer. So the reunion is kind of like getting them all together to find out who did what, which I love. I love a good cast of characters. I love a locked room or a small enclosure mystery. These are definitely one of the mystery tropes that I really enjoy, so I'm super excited to read this. Let's finish our book haul. I have the missing books right here. The next book that I picked up is Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. And it is the cult classic that inspired Dracula, but I'm excited about this because 1, I love vampires, and 2, it's a sapphic romance. So I'm super stoked about this, and as you can see, I have already started reading it, and this will be part of the TBR for our next readathon. So make sure that you subscribe because the announcement will be going out, I believe, next week. The next book I picked up is All Dressed Up by Jilly Gagnon. And I love this because it's supposed to be a weekend getaway at this hotel where there's going to be an elaborate like 1920s murder mystery dinner, but then actual people start dying. It's closed off, it's secluded, it's got a cast of characters. Like I said, one of my favorite tropes, and it's 1920s. I'm so excited. This book I picked up is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall, and this book is about 3 girls who are hanging out in the woods when one of them is attacked. The man that attacks her, she survives. She doesn't die. She's just attacked. She survives, and the 3 girls put a man away. That man has been put away as a serial killer, and he is wanted for murdering 6 women. However, apparently these 3 girls lied, and now one of them wants to tell the whole story, and she goes missing. And now the main character, whose name I believe is Naomi, sets out to find out what really happened. And I love books like that. This reminds me of an adult version of Know You Remember by Jennifer Donaldson. This one, which I just bought. I have read this. I gave it 5 stars. The twists were amazing. I could not put it down. So yeah, this reminds me of an adult version of this, and I'm hoping to give this 5 stars as well. Next book I got is Japanese Tales of Mystery and Imagination by Edogawa Rampo, who is a prolific Japanese writer of mystery fiction. If you have ever watched Case Closed or Detective Conan Edogawa, that's where he gets his name from. So this is translated by James B. Harris, and I'm so excited to be able to read some classic mystery tales from the Japanese master. I'm so excited. The book we've got is Nothing Can Hurt You by Nicola May Goldberg. In 1997, a student is killed in the woods and her boyfriend takes the blame, but then it turns out that it's possible that he didn't do it, and now there's more questions than ever, and they're trying to figure out if it was right. So I'm excited about that. The next book I picked up is one that's been on my TBR for a while. It's called Reluctant Immortals by Gwendolyn Keast. That's what the cover looks like. It's gorgeous. Basically, it's a horror novel that looks at two men, Mr. Rochester and Dracula, and the two women who survived them, Bertha and Lucy, who are now undead immortals. They're residing in Los Angeles in 1967 when Rochester and Dracula make a shocking return, combining elements of historical and gothic fiction with a modern perspective in a tale of love and betrayal and coercion. It's a lyrical and harrowing journey of two women as they bravely claim their own destiny in a man's world. I'm very excited about this. I've heard really, really good things, but the thing that made me pick it up finally is this blurb from Stephen Graham Jones. It says, "This is a black rose petal crushed for generations in a moldering Victorian novel, one that's now steadily trickling blood down the spine, those drops collecting not in a cupped palm, but the sharp corners of a mouth." Next books I got are really, really small. I got Galatea, which is a short story by Madeline Miller, the same person that wrote the Song of Achilles. And it's basically about a full woman named Galatea, and I believe she is a sculpture that comes to life, and the sculptor marries the sculpture to control her, and she won't let him, so she tries to break free, and it's just the adventure of that. I mean, it's a short story. It's not even 100 pages. And then the next book I got, I believe, is just small stories by a Japanese author, Hiromi Kawakami, and it's called Parade. It looks like this. I love how small it is. I love that I can just throw it in my bag and go. I am very excited to read this. But I guess it's about some stories that a student and her former high school teacher tell each other. The book I picked up is called Book of Knives by Lise Haynes. And I'm excited about this because it says there are 13 knives. One by one they begin to disappear. So a woman and her husband go back to this camp, and they want to get it together so they can sell it. However, the camp doesn't allow that to happen, and as the woman is like hanging out with his family, they're very difficult, and they have this like prized possession of knives, and one by one the knives go missing and bodies start dropping. So sounds good to me. I love a good body count. The next couple of books, we got 4 books left. This is what's left of our book haul, guys. We're almost there. The next book is called Are You Sarah by S.C. Lally. It's about 2 women named Sarah who get into a ride share, but only one makes it home, and they don't know which Sarah was the actual target. And this is an author of Punjabi and Bengali heritage, so this is a diverse novel, and I am very excited to read more. Next book I got is also a person of color author, Catherine Dang, and this is called Nice Girls. And it looks like this. Like, these covers are everything, y'all. And it basically says that Mary used to be such a nice girl. She was the resident whiz kid of Liberty Lake, Minnesota, with a scholarship to an Ivy League school. But 3 years later, she's back, a cynical failure who was kicked out of Cornell at the beginning of her senior year and won't tell anyone why. Then there's a beautiful influencer, and she goes missing. And they begin to obsess over her, but it might be connected as to another missing person who was dismissed as a runaway. So now they're trying to figure out what happened, who's who, and what's going on. So I'm very excited to see what's happening with this guy. And then the next book I got is Missing Dead Girls by Sarah Walters. Like, can we talk about this cover? How spooky is that? And this is basically like so something happens to the main character, Tilly, I think her name is, and basically she is just trying to distance herself from what happened and just stay quiet, and a new girl from the wealthy side of town starts hanging out with her, and then that girl goes missing. And a photo of her bloody body is texted to the whole student body from an account bearing Tilly's name. Now, of course, Tilly didn't do it, but she's tangled into a web of secrets that will destroy her if they surface. So she needs to solve it before someone else does. Last book, whoop, whoop, whoop. Last book on our list is You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce. It sounds amazing. I'm so excited to read this. It basically says that Cassandra Tipp is dead. Or is she? After all, the notorious recluse and eccentric best-selling novelist has always been prone to flights of fancy, and everyone in town remembers the shocking events leading up to Cassie's infamous trial. She may have been acquitted, but the insanity defense only stretches so far. Cassandra Tipp has left behind no body, just her massive fortune and one final manuscript. Then again, there are enough bodies in her past. Her husband, the shocking murder-suicide of her father and brother. It's gonna tell you a story, but it's gonna come with a terrible price. What really happened? And who has she been protecting all this time? So I'm super excited about this as well. So, that is my book haul over the last, like, 4-ish, 5-ish, 6-ish weeks. It's a lot. We bought 6.7 novels, but 3 of them I've already read, so we should be getting to those soon. I'm going to be doing a readathon announcement in the next week for March's TBR. I have decided that I'm going to start going through the books that I own by making TBRs monthly and choosing books that I own plus some new ones that fit that like theme. And that's how we're going to go through the rest of the year. I'm so excited to start this journey for our next readathon. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss the announcement video. And in the announcement video, I will also list all of the novels that I plan on reading so that if you want to join me, you can read along too. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and follow me on Instagram. And I will see you next time. This has been Ink Money. I'm Gabby. And I'll see you next time. How about?